This video is dedicated to the life of Jay Briscoe. May he rest in peace. What is going on out there, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot for Watch Along Wrestling. Hopefully everyone is doing well and staying safe. It is great to be back here with each and every one of you. And if it's your first time visiting the channel, of course, make sure you leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to Watch Along Wrestling. We've got a lot of really fun content coming your way here on the channel as we have now entered Royal Rumble week. But before we get to the Royal Rumble, there's another WWE big show tonight, and that is the WWE 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, which in about an hour I'll be leaving here from New York and heading down to Philadelphia for that show. Very excited about it. It should be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for it. It's gonna be a good show. I think they're gonna pull it off. I will say, I kind of looking at this show, one of the things that annoys me about this is that they always put the show on the same week as the Royal Rumble. Anniversary shows for Raw should be its own big deal. Even back at the 10th anniversary of Raw, they did it live from WWE New York the same week as, or a week or two maybe, but I think it was the same week as the Royal Rumble 2003, and it felt very much like here you are celebrating Raw, but you're still trying to hype the Royal Rumble, whereas the anniversary of Raw should really be its own standalone show. I recognize that with the National Championship and now with NFL having playoffs on Monday night, it's hard for WWE to put together a big show because they want to hit a big rating. So I recognize that, but you could hit a decent rating and then you'd get another rating for the go-home Raw for the Rumble. At least you'd think so. So neither here nor there. I do think they're going to pull the show off tonight, and I am excited about it. I'm going to get into kind of the ins and outs of how this trip here came together and what to expect here as we get ready for our first wrestling vlog for our first wrestling trip of 2023. So here we go. Really, this all started, I'd say, a couple months ago. Well, I guess before we even get there, it's important for me to give you guys a little bit of a backstory back in 2018. So let's chugga back to 2018. I was getting married. I went on my bachelor party in Walt Disney World, and my brother-in-law at the time was, I want to say 17. So he could go to Disney World, but he wouldn't be able to do the Epcot drink around the world. I don't think he really wanted to hang with a bunch of drunk, 20-somethings, and so he decided that he and I would have our own bachelor party, and we'd include my wife. So it was a bachelor party, but it's really just like a family trip. And he said to me, I had taken him to Raw in 2017. The Raw, that's Mick Foley kind of stepped down as the commissioner of Raw, the general manager of Raw at the Barclays Center. And at that Raw, I asked him to be a groomsman. He said, can we have our own bachelor party? I want to go to the Rumble. Because we already knew the Royal Rumble was going to be in Philly for 2018's Royal Rumble. So I go to my bachelor party. We could not get tickets for the Royal Rumble. The cheapest seats were like $400. It was completely ridiculous. Because the Wells Fargo Center is relatively small and the demand is there for the tickets, it was like really difficult to get tickets for the Rumble. They just weren't releasing any more tickets. There was nothing they were giving on the website, and it was just really difficult. So with that being said, I decided to try to supplement the Royal Rumble and think, okay, well, we're in New York. Raw's 25th anniversary is going to be at the Barclays Center and at the Manhattan Center. So let me get tickets for the Barclays Center, and that could kind of be his bachelor party. It didn't really work, right? I remember gifting him these tickets and him being all excited thinking, oh my God, here comes the Rumble, and then he pulls out Raw 25. I think he wanted to throw the Raw 25 tickets on the floor, and I can't even necessarily say I blame him. But we went to Raw 25, and the show was flat. I think that having the show at two different venues just didn't really work. I feel horrible for the people that were at the Manhattan Center, and someday I'll do a full breakdown of that entire experience because I do have a good friend who was at the Manhattan Center. Plan was to actually do a little video about that, getting ready for it, but then the Bell's palsy thing happened, and so we kind of shelved that for a bit. But someday we'll reconnect. But long story short, I was just not a fan of Raw 25. It just wasn't great. And I think, honestly, the mood was just not really there for my brother-in-law, myself, and my wife, because all of us wanted to go to the Rumble. And so with the Rumble coming up, it was kind of like, this isn't a suitable replacement. So Wednesday, Thursday that week, they finally do release extra tickets for the Rumble. I was able to snag 3 of them, and away we went to the Royal Rumble Philadelphia. Ended up being awesome. What a fun 2 weeks for me. I had my bachelor party in Orlando down in there, and then the next week we went away to Philly for the Royal Rumble, did NXT TakeOver, which I do think are sorely missed over pay-per-view weekends these days, and many different other things throughout the city of Philadelphia. It was awesome. It was so much fun. Crowd was on fire. Again, at some point, I'll do a little video about that trip because I do think it was so much fun, and my brother-in-law and I are trying to coordinate that and see when we can do a video for that. So anyway, now you fast forward 5 years later, and I'm like, I've got to do this again. I see that Raw 30 is here in Philadelphia. I see that Royal Rumble is at one of my favorite venues of all time, the Alamo Dome. Now, I say this never being to the Alamo Dome, but it's been one of those bucket list places I want to go. You figure you go to the Alamo, you go see Riverwalk, and then you can go to the Alamo Dome and have a really fun weekend at it. So that was my plan. Didn't really work out. The reason it didn't work out is because I've kind of always had a plan in the back of my head, or kind of a plan that I've set forth, that I have one traveling wrestling trip per year. I don't mean traveling in the car, I mean like flying wrestling trip. And I think we're going to end up doing WrestleMania. And so when we looked at it and said, all right, we're probably going to do WrestleMania, we decided not to do the Royal Rumble. So now I'm like, all right, everything is just, it's all going to be into this Raw 30th anniversary, live from Philly, and I'm going to just make the best of it. I'm going to try my best to make this show my Royal Rumble. But the issue was that I didn't really have anybody to go to the show with. My wife was working. It's a Monday. You kind of need a lot of time to get down to Philly. So I ended up making a plan with a buddy of mine who was in Philadelphia, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. He ended up having to cancel last week. So I thought, all right, I'm going to just do it solo. I've never done a solo wrestling trip. It's always been kind of on my idea to do things. A lot of times I go to a show with somebody, and I'm enjoying the show, but I'm also doing everything I can to make sure they're enjoying the show. So I was like, this could be fun. Like, I'll go, I'll enjoy the show, and we'll see where it goes from there. So ended up happening. My buddy James has been super supportive of everything that I've been going through with this Bell's palsy, and we started chit-chatting about it. I told him I was going to head down to Philly alone. He's like, oh, why don't I join you? And now I'm really excited because James and I think my first wrestling show I'd ever been to in Philly was Night of Champions 2009. I think it was right around that time. I think that was the first one. I know that it was a show that was in July of 2009. And we went down for James's birthday, went to that show, went to Dragon Gate USA the night before, and so now 15 or close to about 14 years later, here's James and I going back to Philadelphia. We're gonna have a great time and head down there, and we're excited about it. I mean, the issue, of course, is that because we waited so long to figure out if we were gonna go to the show, tickets are like impossible to get. They were released this morning on the website. I was able to add 2 to my cart, and then the website crashed. By the time I got back into the website, it was pandemonium, and you couldn't get any more tickets. Tickets were gone in an instant, probably gobbled up by a bunch of bots, and really tough. So hopefully tickets get released at some point. If not, it is what it is. I'll probably just have to suck it up and pay the $100 or whatever it is to sit way too high up for the show. But we'll see how it goes. I think James is excited to go. I'm excited to go. Initially, we had planned on actually getting out there very early and leaving here around 6, 7 in the morning. Ended up not happening because when we thought about it, we were like, this show's going to end at like 12 probably, and then we're going to have to head back, not get home till like 3 in the morning. So it's just like a 24 hours in the car. And let's be honest, we're not 19, 20 years old anymore. So it's just, that isn't what we're going to do. But it's going to be a full day. We're going to have fun. Hopefully we get down to Philly around 2, 3 o'clock. Maybe go check out the Rocky Steps, which is one of those bucket list things I wanted to do. And been to Philly so many times and still have not ran the Rocky Steps. So hopefully, if the weather holds up, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go get a nice bite to eat, and then we'll settle in and get ready for Monday Night Raw. And now we have to try to get tickets for said Monday Night Raw. So hopefully we'll find those there. But 30th anniversary of Raw, I'm just hoping the show is better than the 25th anniversary. I like that they've given us a couple of title matches. I like that we have the cage match on tap. And I appreciate these types of shows because it's a culmination of, I guess a reminder more so than a culmination of what Monday Night Raw was. And for me, I mean, Raw we'd watch it with my dad every single Monday night. We'd be with him whenever my parents split, and we'd get together and we'd watch Raw, and it was like this big deal, especially during the Attitude Era, probably through the Ruthless Aggression era. I thought Raw was awesome. And then even during college, once I got to college, my friends and I would always we'd go down to Moe's, we'd go get some Mexican food. You probably know Moe's, it's kind of like a Chipotle, so to speak. And at the end of the day, we'd have a good time with that, and then we'd go home, watch Raw on a delay so we could fast forward through all the commercials, and it was still a big deal. And as I've gotten older here, now that I have a family of my own, do I sit down and watch Raw every single week in full? I don't, but it's still good to know you have wrestling on a Monday night. When you start your week, and it's a tough-ass week to get through, you know that if you want to, you could turn on the TV and have Monday Night Raw on, and it's something that remains top of mind, at least for me, while everything is going on. So, 30 years, unbelievable, tons of nostalgia, tons of great memories, going to different Raws, whether it be going to go see Kofi Kingston jump off the rafters in Madison Square Garden, or Dolph Ziggler cashing in Money in the Bank and being there for that. There's been so many Raws that I've been to, and I'm hoping tonight brings forth a variety of extra memories. I'm excited that it's back in Philly. Philly's gotten so much. You think about it, I'm even wearing the Extreme Rules 2022 shirt just a couple months ago in Philadelphia. Next year, they're getting WrestleMania. Now, here we are again back in Philly for Raw 30. But I think if you're a good crowd, and WWE sees that, and they want a good crowd, they'll continue to come back to you. They did it with the Barclays Center for many years. Many years, Barclays Center would get a ton of shows. Now, I think we have a one-off Raw coming up, and that's because WWE burnt the crowd out. We had SummerSlam every year, and then you had WrestleMania, and I'll never forget the crowd after WrestleMania just being awful. First, you had before WrestleMania, Bret Hart getting hit by the fan, and then the Raw after WrestleMania, the crowd was just not interested. They were doing the wave the entire time. So I think that is why they're going to Philly so much. Hopefully they don't burn that crowd out, but it should be a hot crowd. Hopefully we can get tickets. We'll go ahead and vlog the whole journey anyway, and we'll put it up, and then at some point we'll recap our trip. So strap in, enjoy Monday Night Raw 30th anniversary. Let me know some of your favorite Raw memories in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys in the next video.